Hello. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing another one of these. I have been working very hard on a Shark Boy and Lava Girl theory, and a Matilda theory, and Baby Smitty Part 2. In other words, that is the Pixar theory to end all Pixar theories. It will connect everything. Right now, I'm I've been working on the thumbnail and title for the Shark Boy Lava Girl. I have not actually written any of the theory, and the reason for that is because I'm trying to figure out how to promote the theories backwards. So I think it's an interesting tactic that some people try. So I'll try it. I've been going in and changing a lot of my thumbnails on old videos. I've updated quite a few of them. You can maybe see I've updated my oh god, a whole bunch. The Office Theory, Edna Mode, and then some older ones too. My Disney timeline, a whole bunch. And it's interesting they're getting views because I've been really trying to figure out how to. I can give you a list of everything I updated. I tried to update the Oompa Loompa one, but it looked too clickbaity. So I updated all the titles. Oh, hello. Just turned 18. That's fantastic news. I didn't just turn 18. I turned 18 5 years ago. Um, um, I think BNL has technology to make people forget their deceased family members. So that's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. No, but the second Baby Smitty theory, in other words, my next big Pixar video, it will hands down be probably the best thing I've ever posted. And that means it will exceed Baby Smitty 1, it will exceed the Mort stuff, and I'm going to make it as cinematic as possible. So ever since my previous live stream, you can see I've kind of made my videos a little more cinematic. Like even the Zelda one, which I knew wasn't going to get any views, but I wanted to make it anyways. I edited it very well, like compared to, will it be in theaters? I don't know. Originally, I said I wanted to rent a blimp and sail it over New York with a big picture of Baby Smitty on it. I'm going to have to really work on it. SML. I don't know what that is. Is that the puppet YouTube thing? I've never seen it. Thank you. Disney would sue the shit out of you. I know they would. They do some crazy things, but I don't know. We'll see. I might only get 3 more videos out this year. 2. It will at least be the Shark Boy Lava Girl and the Matilda, and they will be very cinematic. I'm not just because what I've been focusing on for the longest time is making theories, and I mean I care a little about the presentation and the editing, etc., but it's not particularly coherent, or in other words, reactable. Like I've seen a couple of people react to my channel, but I understand why they can't right when they start watching it. It's because it's hard, I think, to watch my videos with other people because the videos are, I don't know how to describe it. They're so fast. You kind of can't process it as it's happening always. So I have to kind of slow it down, but also present it cinematically. And then, so I'll do that. I'll do that with the Shark Boy Lava Girl. I'll do that with Matilda. And then Baby Smitty. I mean, I know vaguely what it's going to entail. It's going to entail time travel and a whole bunch of Ratatouille paradoxes and them trying to corrupt the food industry and more on the Disney BNL link. And I do think that the Infinite Mobius Matryoshka is actually a monoverse, as I'm describing it now, which is to say, it's not that there's infinite universes containing infinite universes. It's a single universe, infinitely containing itself. I don't think it's as complicated, and that'll also make it easier to map. Okay. Okay. Do you think Chester V would work? No, because he's a Sony Animation. My friend was disgusted by your theories. Which one? Mitroshka. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I have a list, I think I mentioned last time, of all the theories I want to do. But, I've gotten more 20 blah, blah, blah. That one will be eventual. I already have the outline for it. I know what it's going to have in it, but it'll probably be next year, or it will be next year, hopefully. Not too far into it. Will there be more Katie? Yes. Will I make the promised Norbit theory? I don't know. If there's demand, although I don't really have a theory for it yet. Although I do talk about some very strange things. Will I do more revised theories? I don't know. I don't know that I have many more. If you go to my channel, you can see just yesterday morning, I restructured the whole thing. So I renamed all the playlists and I ordered it by the categories of people that watch me. So it's easier to see. Although actually I do have some theories on Norbit. It's weird, but I do. What happened to your old profile pic? I changed it. So I had my one profile pic, which was the chalkboard, and then I updated it to a chalkboard that was a little cleaner, that had correct formulae, because the original one didn't. And so now it's a moderner picture. It's me. It's the outfit that I use when I'm on camera. I'll probably wear it in the Mike Wazowski diss track, which is still being made, but I don't know how I'm going to film it. I don't know. I'm about to hit 1 million, though, or I will. And I plan to do maybe a draw my life and a face reveal. But, I mean, I don't know. It'll just be like kind of maybe a blurry picture. It's not going to be a big thing. It won't be much different than the picture I used on my dedicated to the DreamWorks Abyss. It'll be the same one, just less filtered down, maybe. Again, you say I look like Kurt Cobain mixed with Sam Winchester and Bucky Barnes, kind of. I don't know. I'm less sick now, though. I got less sick. My medication's working, although I need a lot more. Apparently, I was kind of looking yellow, and that makes sense because my liver was at like stage 2 liver failure for years. For no reason, it just was attacking itself again. Overwatch The Sopranos. No. Getting on the grind, yes. Is the ones through the accidental slaughter of thousands of Cloverfield monsters? Yes. Prince of Egypt. I plan to, but I haven't seen it yet. What I have to watch next, and I have to do this like now, is I have to watch the Shark Boy Lava Girl sequel, because I haven't seen it, and I know I'm going to have to incorporate it. I know a little bit about what it's about. I know what my theory might entail. Maybe like a government experiment. The whole thing was real, kind of, all set up type thing. Maybe kind of like the Cat in the Hat, but really, I think it could be true this time. Although what I'll have to do first is figure out what in that movie, the first one at least, is a dream. Because when you really look at it, what's happening is the entire plot of the movie was in his dream journal when the movie started. And as he goes through the movie, he remembers the dream as he's going through. It's really, really freaking weird when you think about it. And so I got to figure out where it ends, where it begins, if any of it's a dream, if all of it's a dream. And that's going to be tricky. And also, I do think that the Mr. Electric is not the teacher. I think it's some other controlled thing. Baby Smitty is a cannon little fanon-hating sham, baiting everything he can, like a wormy little dead-ass thought, or so he did, since my clever subversion took him out of this version of the infinite recursion. BNL's on an incursion, I will feed the slug to Persians. I do remember all that. Getting more pills. No, it's infusions for my failing liver and immune system, which isn't failing so much anymore, but because of who I am, I don't know how to undo what's happened. Never attend a theorizer stream. How am I? I've been up for, oh my god, 24 hours now. It's been 24 hours straight. But that's okay, because I slept 24 before that. Do I like Lovecraft? I've never read Lovecraft, but I'm sure I love a number of things that were inspired by him. I don't know what those would be, but cosmic horror is interesting. Classical theism. I don't know what that is. I don't know anything about psychology. Or, sorry, philosophy. I know a bit about psychology. I don't know really anything about philosophy. What is your theory on The Room? I think, as I said years ago, that it's a social experiment on object permanence. Have you ever thought about doing theories on music videos? People have asked me to, since I started. They said do what was it, BTS, but I've never watched them. Or I guess I've seen a couple of. No, I don't know if I have. I don't know. I have weird taste in music. My favorite bands are the Carpenters and ABBA. I love them. I don't know what to say. As far as like pop music, I'm very pedestrian. I don't like much music after about, I don't know, mid 2010s. It started to kind of get a little sad and kind of mopey. That was the trend, I think, at least on the radio, kind of hipsterish. I like the kind of more peppy kind of dance music, but I liked Britney Spears, Katy Perry, Kesha, Lady Gaga. And then I liked the boy bands, Westlife, Backstreet Boys. I would say probably my favorite would, oh God, typically Katy Perry. I liked a lot of the music. It was very just catchy. But I would say now, with retrospect and kind of hearing the way the music's made, I would probably say Britney Spears, actually. But this is just pop music. My favorite genre is Baroque music. Dark Baroque, Gothic, kind of vampiric music. That's my favorite. That's what I try to make when I release my soundtracks. I mean, my Family Guy video, the entire soundtrack in the back, I made. It was the first video ever to entirely have background music that I created, every second of it. Okay, let me see. How many of your theories do you think are intended? It's interesting you say that, because actually, you know what I do? I have a very, I think I mentioned it before, I have a very, very flawless rating system. It's very meticulous, and it is built for rating out of 10 YouTube theory video essays, and mainly on the construction of the theory more than the video. And part of that factor is believability, of how likely it was. And so there's a lot that I think are believable. There are some I don't think were intended at all, and some that like just weren't. They're just the logical consequence of the lore. But I don't know. Family Guy universe pushing Peter and Lois bloodlines to mix. Probably. Dogman. I didn't see the trailer for it, but I know of it. And the reason I know of it is because I read all the Captain Underpants books. Didn't watch the movie. I don't know if there's a TV series, but I read all the Captain Underpants books, and I read what was it? Both Super Diaper Baby books. I did not read any of the Dogmen, but I know that they're correlated. It's got overlap. And yeah, the Dogmen, that's clearly going to be DreamWorks adjacent. They're choosing to make. The Matilda theory is on the 1995 movie, I think. I haven't actually watched it yet. Isn't that sad? I can't believe I do this. Katie is a wild card sent out by the shadow demons. True. Yeah, if you show other people my videos, that's the thing. They're not very approachable. That's the problem. And I recognize this when I've watched people react to them, is that they kind of don't know what's happening, and they know what's happening, but it's like they can't really react. They're just kind of taking in the information. Oh, you said you think the mind is 8-dimensional. Why can't it just be the electrochemistry in your brain? Oh, so that would be the brain. The reason I say the mind is more is, well, it's because of the number of things that have occurred that don't entirely add up to the electrochemistry. Largely, it gets dismissed, but not all of it. And it's very interesting the way that the consistency plays around it. I mean, that's the point. I could go into that, but it starts to sound increasingly unhinged. The part that's interesting is that it is the, how do I describe this? It's the whole entire everything train of everything, that what I'm saying flows directly from and into all of that. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like, I don't know how to describe it, and I don't want to come off sounding absolutely unhinged, but it's all the same thing, and you kind of, it all kind of hits you at once. And when it happens to a person, it hits them at once, and it's extraordinarily, really, the thing is the consistencies. It's not just with one person, it's multiple people over and over again. And well, generally it's just the things that don't add up or make sense, like the things that there's no way that they could see, or blah 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 blah. I think I mentioned, though, they do studies, but the problem is it's not really something that can be studied, because it relies so heavily on well, you could study the cases that have happened, and people do, but if you try to set up an exact specifics, it doesn't work, because the whole thing hypothetically would be meticulously controlled. It's not some random thing that you could test. It's very much so in control of the person that's, whatever, having the near-death experience, if that's what you want to say. And simply put, it chooses not to. It would be like testing gravity by dropping a ball constantly, but you don't know the ball has a string on that's holding it up, and at one point it suddenly doesn't work. Like it's controlled. You just don't know it, and so you're not really testing anything. But beyond that, what has happened, if you're there when it happens, like a strange, bizarre situation, it happens. And you can, if you want, go out seeking it and see people, and by luck or chance, have it happen near you. And for example, have someone be near someone and be in the room or something if someone dies, and then comes back, or gets resuscitated, and then has some bizarre proof that there's no way of knowing. Like, it'll be a situation, and everyone in the room will be like, "Whoa, that was weird." But that's the point. That's when it will happen. It never happens in studies, because it's not something to be studied, and it's not ethical, of course. But this is generally something that a lot of emergency room doctors and especially hospice nurses, they all go into this kind of thing. Hold on a minute. As you'll go, favorite game lore-wise? I don't know. I don't play games. 9 theory. Souls lower class in the card. DreamWorks timeline. I do. Part 28, the latest Mort theory, just a couple of videos ago. Oh, and sorry, hold on. For Vortex, the idea that it's specifically 8-dimensional, that's just kind of that number I'm just kind of throwing out there as a possibility, because of the way that everything below it kind of gets quantified and then it just stops making sense. But it's not in particular that, just the idea that it's more than the electrochemistry. Hold on. I fully agree that we are one intricate unit, but I think we are different parts of the universe which are a chain reaction because. Yeah. Thoughts on the occult in life for my theories. Well, the closest thing I've got to my theory on the universe is previous live stream and the one before. Yeah, it's very interesting. My horror game. Yes, I'm calling it the Cloudberry Abyss. It's going to be very interesting. I'm just layering it with patterns and mysteries. The main characters are named Deborah Stratus and Franklin Stratus, and their dog, Aldo. And their boss, whose name is Cyrus. And if you can guess what the pattern is, then you'll be very, very interested. There's a whole bunch of different patterns. It's very interesting. Where will I release it? Probably Steam. I don't know how to do it, and I don't know how to make a game, so I'm just working on it. Kind of trying to figure it out. Accidentally stole the menus Grande design from Bleach. I don't know what that is. But yeah. I don't know. Dogman. No, I didn't see it. I didn't watch it. I don't know much about it. What do you think is the most important philosophy? I don't know anything about philosophy. That's the thing. And this is again what the whole thing is it all of this. It's not a philosophy. I mean, it kind of is. I guess you can label it, but that does it a disservice because it's just the conclusion that every person comes to after they go through the absolute most nightmarish scenario, and it just kind of falls into their lap, like they remember, if it makes sense. And so the stuff that I'm talking about is that. And you could say, oh, that's just the human condition. Well, what I'm technically doing is describing what the human condition is. Like that's, I guess, the other way you would describe it. Most important. Could Mort theory reach 15 hours? Yep. Jar Jar. It's interesting. I don't know a whole lot about Star Wars. I vaguely remember watching the one where they blow up the Death Star the first time. It's a whole. Never watched the I Am Your Father one. I remember vaguely watching parts of the one with the little things that are furry on the planet. And then I was actually interested in the 3 ones that preceded everything, but I didn't watch them. I just remember watching parts of the 3rd one and remembering it was quite epic. And then I did watch in the theater, because it was J.J. Abrams, who a lot of people don't like, but I liked his shows. Or at least he's very clever with his concepts, although people are very mixed on his execution. So I did end up going in the theater, and I did watch all of the 3 new Star Wars movies. I didn't watch any of the spin-offs, the Rogue One or the Han Solo, but I did watch those. Troll Hunters. I don't know about Troll Hunters. I haven't seen a whole lot of things. Modern contemporary classical music. I don't know. I mean, I'm very interested again in epic Baroque kind of music, but I don't know much about the specifics. I just know that the label that I give it. Has your favorite theory channels changed? That's interesting because there aren't many theory channels left, at least not that do theories mainly. I'm trying to think because originally you'd have, a lot of the Pixar ones, right? Watso Videos and Super Carlin Brothers and Seamus Gorman and a few others. And it's gotten so, I think it's very difficult to make theories, at least really good ones. It's extremely hard because you're doing so much at once, trying to be convincing and blah, 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 blah. And also now it's becoming clear that, because I still want to make them, you just have to change up the whole way you're trying to go about presenting them. And you can't use theory because people seem to be getting bored of it. Although not so bored because, again, as I mentioned before, there was a whole SpongeBob just flood with Alex Bale and the skin theory. And it just totally, I was like, whoa, what's happening here? And I know what happened now, I think. But it's interesting. And that's the only real thing that's kind of still there. So at this point, and then of course there's Matt Pat and his channels, although he left. And so I see what they're doing. I'm watching the channels very closely and watching what's happening. And I think, if I could guess, I think their rate of people clicking has gone down because they know that Matt Pat's not going to be in it. And it just is different. And, it's too different for people, I think. But, they're really trying. And I see it in the technical way that they're going about it now that I understand kind of what to do. And then there's Alex Bale, who's kind of made some theories, but they're more sporadic and kind of intermittent. I guess so are mine at this point. So my favorite theory channels have changed because there aren't really any left. Favorite movie? Inception. I think the idea. What do you think about the idea that the universe was born from nothing? Based on everything that is known, at least in this area, by myself and really everyone else that's kind of in a similar position, what seems to be the consensus is that it was never nothing. It's just, it's infinite, like over and over again, cycles within universes everywhere, just complete all over the place, infinitely dimensional kind of thing, like just nuts. But that sounds meaningless and kind of just like endless, but it actually makes perfect sense and is very coherent once you're, can see it, right? It's just nonsense here, but it's not some paradoxical nonsense. It's very real and familiar and all that. Film theory thoughts when you do analog horror videos. Yeah, no, I think Alex is going to be me, and I would say the reason is because I really put the hell of work into this, Shark Boy and the Matilda, and it seems like they're going to do well, but they just won't be done in time. Like maybe they'll be done in October, November. Did the Cloudian permanently disturb you? Yes. Chester V kidnapped my daughter. Phineas and Ferb. Never seen it in my life. Anything about artificial intelligence, DreamWorks? How much Alex Bale's SpongeBob theory? I don't know about the artificial intelligence. What do you think of the robot invasion theory? I think the robot invasion theory is correct. I think, although what's interesting is the Patrick theory that I have is still correct by that logic, because it would be preceding the moment that he was, body snatched, I guess. Interestingly enough, I think I've done a few kind of robot type body snatching theories as well. I think it could very possibly play a part in Baby Smitty 2, because I think Linguini is a robot, and that's why he was able to be controlled like a robot by Remy. I think almost all of the Pixar characters are robots. Sincerely, I think almost all of them are robots. I'm telling you, this video's nuts. Let's see. I have seen his theories. I don't know if I haven't watched all of them. I didn't, if I can recall, because he hasn't made many, and I have a good memory. I watched the first. He sent me the first one as he posted it. It was Squilliam, and I watched that. I thought it was good. I've actually, well, you know what I did? I think when I was doing it, I'm not sure if I had it written down somewhere. I do. I use my little theory rating system to rank them all, and I put his, if I recall, his television theory was good. The Squilliam theory was good, and the ending was like pretty trippy. It was great. I thought his television theory was, I thought, really good. Um, Although it's that concept, the idea it's all a show, is something I'm very familiar with, and I was already kind of on that a little bit with SpongeBob too, so it didn't surprise me too much. The Mrs. Puff one didn't surprise me really much at all. I mean, the new episodes did, because they had come out since my theory came out, and that one got a lot of views. That one did fantastic, um, and I think I know why. Although it was very well made. The editing was fantastic, and then came my favorite one that he made, which was the nuclear invasion thing. I thought it was perfectly made. I thought it was perfectly made. I absolutely loved that video. Um, and then it kind of trailed a bit. So the Neptune one I thought was good and made sense. Then there was, what was there? There was the robot invasion, and there was the death cult, and those ones were also, I felt like they were accurate. They just weren't as surprising to me, um, and that's not to discount them at all, because I think they're completely spot on. Like they're correct. Um, but like, for example, the reason I loved the fourth one, the nuclear invasion or whatever thing, so much, was because the way it was made. It like brought three different things together, and they were things that I had never thought of. Um, and I thought that they were, and it was very, very, very unique and completely out of left field, and yet completely believable. Like, that is perfect. And then I think he made a Patchy the Pirate one. I don't know if I don't think I watched that one. I didn't watch his Magic School Bus just because I don't know much about Magic School Bus. And then I did watch his Pixar one, which is essentially a theory on the blooper universe and what is going on that level, I guess you would say. And it's, well, it's a perfectly logically coherent explanation of what is happening. Although with Pixar, and this is the thing that seems to be the case with Pixar primarily, is they're very kind of stingy about their mysteries. They go on record a lot saying that they don't intend anything. So I'm just kind of go with it at this point. But I would say that is, his video is the most accurate description of the bloopers. So that's my opinion on that. And I've never seen his newest. Because I don't know what the show is. I don't watch anime, I think is what it is. Hold on. I got a bunch of comments. I'm going through this. I'm losing my voice again. This happens every time I do these. What are your predictions for 2050? I think everyone. Well, the world, I think I mentioned this before, the world is very unlikely to completely end. And if it is, we're going to know it's happening, and we're going to know everything. Like it. I said, the world was going to completely immolate and everything was going to go extinct. It would have happened at the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it just didn't. And it was a freak coincidence and absolute miracle that it didn't. And I mean that literally, based on everything I've said. Civilian helicopter pilots harvesting organs for B&L robots. Actually, that's a fantastic idea. I'm going to screenshot that because I think it's true, and I'm going to include that in the video. I know all about your rich Saudi parents. I don't have Saudi parents. Romanian women. I don't know about this. Helsing. New episode, we literally see Patrick's brain growing through reading. That's interesting. I didn't know. Like, I mean, Nickelodeon, they're incorporating all their theories into the show. Like they just, I mentioned this so many times. It's just, they want people to go funneled into the show. They just straight up just drag them in. It's they're not even trying to hide it. They're taking the theories, basically, all of them, mine, his, and a few others. And this is nowhere is this more evident than their Bikini Bottom mysteries. They straight up just did it. I mean, it's entertaining. It's ridiculous. I mean, the people who aren't involved are just insane. I mean, I think I mentioned they absolutely just they they directly parodied Nostalgia Critic in their spin-off show. Like directly mocked him. It was incredible. I was like, well, there's that. Although I have been, because that was that. I guess that was a theory come true. Although most of the theories that I have that come true are just things that I just post offhandedly on Twitter, like the Nikocado avocado thing. Or I mean, that was very obvious. But I mean, to think of videos that have come true that were like predictions, well, I mean, that would again have to be TV shows where I predicted the next episode and got it right. And that happened with Supernatural, happened with Once Upon a Time a few times, happened with Stranger Things. My Stranger Things theory, I predicted the entire what I believe the show will finish on, all the way back in 2018, 19. I still maintain that I've basically predicted the end of the show back then. I still think the last episode is going to end on Forever Young. I don't know how they couldn't. Also, it's going to involve nuclear bombs, all that shit. Let me see. Andy Stouts forgotten about his family because BNL took down his photos and erased everyone's memory. Maybe. I consider making a few videos in a few years. Yeah, it's very difficult. And the thing is, you have to figure out, because now here's the part. For the longest time, I was under the assumption, because of the analytics that I looked at, and I mentioned this, that people, my subs, weren't seeing the videos. So I was completely single-mindedly focused on getting them all to see it, and I didn't know why they weren't. And it still makes me very angry that they're not. But they work around to getting views and to getting them to see it. Now, they don't get it in their sub box. They don't get it recommended, but they can. YouTube will force it to happen if you artificially just bump the click-through rate and the view retention. So I just gave up and started to do it, and it worked. And it just bums me, though, because it's going to nag me endlessly that their system works that way. Like, it's just, people subscribe, they should see it. But YouTube doesn't care. They want people to stay on as long as possible. Okay. I'm going to do another SpongeBob theory. My latest SpongeBob theory was in... Okay, 2021 was when I lost my mind completely. It was behind the scenes thing. That's what broke me and kind of, what would you say, revealed my, I'm not going to go into it again. But that was when I posted Dimension Theory, which was a fantastic little video that united my craziest SpongeBob theories pretty seamlessly, honestly. I posted that at the height of the SpongeBob theory resurgence. Then, when I came back, if you recall, I had to purchase a new laptop. And so I edited the video on iMovie live on camera with my mask that I'm now wearing as my profile picture. And that was my most recent, but that was a very short video. It was just kind of adding on to Dimension Theory with Sandy Cheeks and Rock Bottom. Television Theory is the most convincing. Yeah, I mean, it's basically it's canon. Basically, it's a part of the show. It's just a part that no one really focuses on, and it's mostly a behind the scenes thing. Although I would say that actually on that front, the most true probably be the Goofy Goober. I think the Goofy Goober of Alex's would be the most accurate. The only difference is it basically if I remember, labeled it the death cult or something, which is what it was. They just didn't say it in the show, but it was a fair. That's the most real one, I think. Television Theory is, but both of those are. I don't know. They're theories, but they're very, very. The show basically says it up front, and this is why I loved that nuclear one. It was truly, truly fantastic. It's exactly. That's a perfect theory video right there. genuinely. Would you consider, although it is kind of crazy, which is also probably why I love it, would you consider an owl house theory? Don't know what it is. Still going crazy over Mort? Yes. Mr. Krabs killed Pearl's mother. Question is, how the filmmakers won't let him be evolved? I don't know. I haven't looked into that. That's what he did. Although I think he's doing the thing that I've done. It's very, very clever, although it's kind of mischievous. It's good. The algorithm should like it, actually, to re-release all the videos as a big one, right? And that's again what I'm planning to do with Mort, 10-hour thing, right? It'll be fantastic. But I think he's going to do that, and I do believe he mentioned on Twitter that he was going to incorporate some other questions, so it should be in there. And I that's the thing. There's barely any theory channels left. It's so very, very sad. But he's here, I guess, and that's fantastic because he's pretty good at it. Yeah, I would certainly say he's the best because he brings a filmmaking touch to it, which the game theory and film theory channels also do. But that's the thing. It's like it's the problem, and it will happen every time, and there's no way around it. It's just the way it works. The more hands that are in the pot, the more people feel it, and there's no way to change it. This is one of the reasons I started making background music for my videos. Like every piece of it is a part of a singular vision. It's critical. People feel it, and it's impossible to replicate. What do you think? Middle Eastern cuisine. When I was younger, I ate Arabic salad. I did a DNA test. I am 25% Levant, I think they pronounce it. That's what it's called. I probably make dozens of theory videos before uploading the first one. Yeah, I mean, I did something similar. I posted 100-something theories before I got popular. That worked, but there was no return on them, and that was the recommend me your videos. You have to ring the bell. Yeah, they just don't care. I had a conversation with them. It's crazy. I have a business email in my theorizer for sponsors and so many different things. And I never read that email, or I see the emails coming in, but it's all sponsors, and I don't take sponsors, but I am very grateful for the opportunity, and I would absolutely be open, keep emailing. Don't stop, because it's very likely that I will need it eventually. And, or maybe I'll just want to, I don't know. But at the moment, no. However, what was I saying? Oh, yes. But YouTube, they actually got in contact with me back in April, I think, May. And they did a video chat with me, and I didn't show my face. But they basically told me, generally, they reinforced the position of what I had come to realize after posting the Cloudy, the Chance of Meatballs, and a few others. And then they said, yeah, so do this. And I said, I've done that. And they tried to say, put yourself in their shoes. And I gave a couple examples of how I think, and they're like, yeah, people don't usually think that way. So it was kind of, and the statistics that I needed weren't something they had access to. It's just not a feature yet. So that's unfortunate. Okay. What did having a psychosis feel like? It was kind of, I know this is going to step on a lot of toes. It felt remarkably similar to Black Swan. I don't know if what I had was like it was the diagnosis by the therapist, and this was very evident, it was essentially psychotic OCD. So it's not schizophrenia, it's not OCD, it is psychotic OCD. It is obsessions that were so incredibly severe, and cabin fever and isolation madness that was so prevalent, and the overthinking, and it was the worst perfect storm, and the health crisis I was having physically. It created this just horrific disaster situation. Every second felt like just it felt like it felt like everything around me, nothing was familiar and everything was familiar. It was like everything just felt like pain, and just it wasn't just a psycho, because there was no bliss in it. It was absolute hell. It was nightmarish misery. Every waking and sleeping second was consumed with just the worst, most horrific things. And it was everything. And I was starting to have tactile hallucinations. It was awful. It was truly, truly awful. And it was everything. It consumed me. It was like going to the bottom of the abyss with a yarn, because of the amount of analysis I was doing with it, and then being able to find my way back out and see it from the top and bottom. It's I don't know how else to describe it. It's just fucking madness. But that's what it felt like. Opinions on Pink Floyd. I don't know who that is. It's a band, isn't it? Feet have a secret side project. Most likely. Cindy's an evil. No, I don't know. I don't think she's evil. She's just kind of there. Sacha Baron Cohen. Isn't he voice King Julian? My accent might hurt possible views. Is it? I know you because you mentioned there. You remember Scandinavian, wasn't it? Maybe not. It's not. Yeah. Finish. It's not that dramatic. I mean, sometimes it can be, although the Nordic countries have a remarkably not thick. Finland has the most thick, but they honestly at times I get confused between French Canadians and Scandinavian accents. It's a wild thing. But I mean, I spend all my time in VR chat. I see all these people like constantly. All right. Did you see Sandy Cheeks movie? The new live stream turn. See another human being in the past month. Yeah, I get my medication infusions once a month, and that's when I see people. Other than every day I go into the virtual reality, but it's not good. This is why I posted about what I just posted about on my main channel on the community tab. It's a very thorough, blunt set of statements about the entire psyche of people, which has become more prevalent now. And it's because I see people on VR chat, and it's basically the final frontier of the internet. I've said it before. It's where once there's nowhere left to go, everyone goes there because it's a literal virtual reality. Okay, let's see. How to change dragon? I can't even think of it. You ever interpret the comments addressing your mental health as a joke? Genuine concerns equal types of comments. No, it had absolutely nothing to do with anything. The only impact, it had nothing to do with anything. Like, I mean, I was analyzing. I'm sure that the amount of thinking I was doing helped my videos. But the only way that it really bled through in a negative way would be the nerves in my talking. Because at this time in 2021, it was at the absolute worst when I posted Katie Part 3. Hands down, that was when it was the worst. That was like 14 hours a day, washing hands nonstop in a sink, raw to the bloody bone, is the equivalent of the OCD I was experiencing, although it was more psychological, so quite literally inescapable. And that's what the equivalent of what happened to my brain. And that was when I posted the Katie theory. That was when it was worse. And in real life, when I would see people occasionally, maybe for health reasons, they said I would just be shaking. Like it was nonstop shaking. I couldn't take a deep breath for about 9 months. Is that what a pregnant woman feels like? Let me see. Not as bad as Australian. Australian can be pretty thick accent, but so can Ireland, I hear. Yo, what's up? How's my cat doing? Good. I haven't seen her in a while because she's at my parents' house. Chief Keef. I don't know anything. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. What the fuck is a Chief Keef? Yeah. How horrifying will the Cloudberry Abyss be? Very. I plan to give it the darkest, most inconceivably horrific, raw story about absolute, universal, eternal torture and suffering and godlike manipulation. I don't even want to describe it. Theory about Minecraft. I have made many theories about Minecraft. Most of them are math. I made one on when it takes place, but it was very long ago. It's my 5th theory ever. And it was very basic. Everything before I got my microphone was like I've ordered my channel into seasons. We're on like season 8 or 9. And everything before I got my microphone was low quality. Microphone between when I got my microphone and when I got popular is medium quality. Then I held myself to quite a standard ever since I got the microphone. Now, ever since, well, the quality keeps going up because I'm trying to nail it down. Although now it's more video based. The lower theory, yeah, one. Oh my god. I did. I mentioned that the corporation, I think it's it's Feet. I haven't seen the show, but I know it is. Who and when was Feet created? We still don't know. The Teletubbies. What the? I've never seen the Teletubbies. I don't know anything about that. Well, maybe I did, but it's been a while. When is Katie returning? I don't know. Katie. I said quite a bit. I couldn't map it, but the thing is, I don't know. I'm going to reevaluate where I'm at in January. I have plenty of plans, and they're really getting quite good now. But you can see the list of everything that I plan to make a theory on in my other live stream. Think of Little Nightmares. Never seen it. Do you work for a Central Asian dictator? Maybe. Aliens or Egyptians are most likely the options for the creators of Feet. Maybe. Depending on the timeline. It could be Jack Horner. Or it could be... What's the name? Is your dad a Ugandan warlord? Yes. Is Katie a xenomorph? No. She's much more terrifying. Again, on a Katie versus Mort death battle, it would be the Katie's win every time. Although, and this is the point that I make, a baby Katie would lose to a full-powered Mort. Yeah. Mort is Jeffrey Katzenberg. Yes. So I do hopefully plan to mention that in part 29. The whole stuff that you had on Discord. I remember that. I wrote it down. Puss in Boots in the same time as Madagascar. I did mention how, although as with most of the connection segments, it was sporadic and kind of half mentioned, and then people comment it and say, wait, what if it's this? And I was like, that's what I meant. And so what I said in there, very like, it was just a brief wordage, was that it was Puss in Boots' dimensional overlap succeeded. It is time independent, etc., etc. He was sent to blah 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 through the multiverse, through time, to be there, my time traveler. No. CP, you mean Conniving Puffin? Kung Fu Panda characters celebrate Christmas in China. Yeah, exactly. So that's another fact. It's the same thing. It's the same as how they speak English, so they have to be. That's not because it manipulated Shen's prophecy. That's an interesting part I didn't think about. It's a specific, right? We'll see, because by the end of the Mort theory, by the very end, I plan to have a complete timeline set up with every last detail. Like, that'll be nightmarish. It'll just be awful. But I'm going to do it. Puss in Boots is outside the Madagascar timeline. No, he's not. It's like he was sent through it, like time traveled or sent to Madagascar at a specific time. Now, I don't know when. It would be, I assume, after Shrek 5. Have you ever left Canada? I've left Canada 3 times in my life. In fact, I haven't left I've left British Columbia, I think, twice. But I've left Canada 3 times. When I was 9, I went to Disneyland and Universal Studios and Newport Beach in California with my family. When I was 11, I went to Maui with my family. And then for a couple days only, when I was 15, when Sponge Out of Water came out, I actually watched it in the theater. I went to Washington State to a water park. Week es dear. Favorite song, Seasons in the Sun. Currently, I don't know. Is all of DreamWorks magic chi? Yes. If the sky got shattered more across the universe, why don't they just do it again when he tries to reform? They don't have the power. You should go to South Home. Principal Mortis to me this valuable information. What does that mean? So hungry. I'm still dieting, trying to get down to buff mort status. I mean, I've got stronger, and I'm not overweight. I'm very normal weight, but I just want to lose more. I remember back when I was really sick and in the hospital, I lost 50 pounds and then regained it in a month. Romanian women. Transylvania? You mean Navy Wavy? Mort is Morgoth from Tolkien's Silmarillion. I don't know what that is. Still an absolute menace in VR chat, though. Every day I go around going, I'm a little cute little thing. I don't know. It's supposed to be funny. That was disturbing. Exactly. Demonic entities of dream work. Do you mean Death, Pitch Black, and Kai? That's who you'd be referring to. I don't know. I still don't know. But it'll get solved eventually. That was disturbing. Yes, it was. What's a ditty? In VR chat, they go on and so say about ditty parties. I don't know what the fuck that is. It's all what all the teenagers are talking about now. Is it like a meme? If Mort was the mango, then why did he attack himself? Our Mort got punched and kicked by the mango, but why? It's not. So, and he doesn't know. So it's the mango is a perfect reconstituted reformation of Mort, but it's not Mort. Very complicated. PJ is basically Misery Mort. I don't know. I don't know who that is. I don't know anything about pop culture. I don't stay up to date with it. I mean, I hear things, blah blah blah. Mort's apocalypse aspects. Yeah, I mean, my life it's remarkably unusual. It's absolutely loaded with extremely unique suffering. Very, very unusual set of circumstances. And so, no, I don't participate in society at all. I have the benefit of not really being in it and being able to get away with that. Rico is famine. Probably. I don't know. Okay, we're at an hour. My God. He's gluttony. Yep. Did lots of impressions in VR chat. It's hilarious. I do and then I do my, hold on. Oh my god! My name is Sonic! I do that because I'm a hedgehog. And then I do my, if you play VR chat, you've probably seen me. I'm an absolute menace in all the public lobbies. You probably blocked me or muted me or kicked me. And then I do my, oh my god! My name is Patricia. What's your name? And then I do my, I'm a hedgehog, so what else do I got? I got my, hi, my name is Silver. I'm from the future. What am I doing? Death is death, Kai is war. Pitch black is pestilence. That's an extremely interesting. I think you're right. Once again, you, most active viewer, have provided another extremely useful theory. I'm going to screenshot that one too. I like the ones that spit out Troll Hunter. I don't know. We are all part of society. What do you think? Do you think society? I'm not a part of society. Well, I guess through YouTube, but I'm not physically. I don't interact. I just kind of exist as this nebulous offshoot. Society's a cult. I mean, it depends what you mean by cult. Bro's pregnant Sonic. Silver is not a pregnant Sonic. At least I don't think. I don't know anything about Sonic lore. Don't know who Famine is yet. Well, it would be another. It would be Mort. Or it'd be Rico. No, it would have to be another. Theoretically, it would have to be. Maybe it could be the mango. Because it's food. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm remarkably lazy. I don't watch half the films before I make the theories on it. I just have such tremendous faith in my ability to make it sound coherent. Like I know what I'm going to do, and then I do it. How did you make that horror for rendition of Morton Donkey? Well, I don't know. I plan to make a whole lot more for my video game. Maybe I'll make I don't know. I want to make a proto scary thing. Maybe I'll make a kind of a fake little analog horror thing. I don't know. I talk about a lot of stuff on my Twitter. I talked about how I think the Walton Files is. I think it tapped into something primal that none of the other analog horrors did, but they all tried to follow in its footsteps. And it, of course, was directly inspired by FNAF, but it has something in the visuals that I haven't seen before. The stretched faces, stilted kind of thing. I haven't seen much of the Walton Files. I know the lore, but I know exactly what it is when I see it. And that's terror. And they nailed it. And you have to get it, and then you use it, and then you use it. It's like it's a very elusive feeling, but I am a very, very avid studier of terror. How would I make it? Carefully, but I know when I see it. So I just kind of kept adding filters over and over and over and over again. Lightning kind of bent it. It's a very subtle, very slight thing. Favorite horror movie? Oh my. Well, let me look up my list of favorite movies. I have it. Let's see. I have a list I think I mentioned before. Okay, here we go. Okay, you're going to like this. Here's a list of all my favorite movies. Some of these are very controversial because people don't like them. Okay, Fire Walk with Me. Again, Twin Peaks is hands down the scariest thing I've seen in my entire life. Movie, TV show, anything. It nails it. And David Lynch knows he nails it, and that's why it's so scary. Requiem for a Dream. That would be the saddest movie I've ever seen. Black Swan. I only say that because, again, it was weirdly reminiscent of my experience, which many people would disagree with, but it was weirdly of mine. She was obsessive too. Hereditary. Hereditary is the scariest modern film. And it knows exactly what it's doing, and it did it. It nailed it. It's the kind that creeps under your skin. It's perfect example of the next one on the list, The Shining, which is a classic example. Joker. Haven't seen it, but I know it's very good, and I've seen the scenes. I can tell. I see it. Predestination. Predestination is fucking insane. That movie is the craziest movie I have ever seen in my entire life. That movie is insane. It, and I love it. Inception, Interstellar, those are the two favorite, but they're not horror. Dark Knight, I just have to add that because classic. Truman Show, I'd love to make a theory on that. It's a fantastic, very, very profound movie. Terminator 2, because it's a classic and very interesting. Infinity War, Lucy, no one likes that. Titanic, because it's a spectacle. Arrival, yeah, I think that's my list. So, favorite horror film, Fire Walk with Me. Favorite actual horror film, Hereditary. Where has gone? Are all Canadians high on maple syrup? The ones around me are, but again, I have this thing about identity, and I don't know. I've never been into the whole Canadian thing. Like everyone around, this is why I never made friends growing up. Everyone was trying to do stuff to be something, and it wasn't that I had a different identity. It was that I just completely shunned the idea of it. It was just. So no, I don't follow Canadian stereotypes. I don't think. But there are plenty of people who I'm sure are around me are high on maple syrup. Okay, I live in a very, very, very. Well, I think BC is actually. I don't know what it's known as outside of. I think I hear stereotypes that they see us as the marijuana state or the marijuana province. I don't know. I mean, it's very legal here, and Vancouver is kind of the hippie area, as they say. So, Shrek's a childhood special, something about his phone. I don't know. I have no idea. Backwards timeline. Seeing the X Files. No, I've seen Fringe and I've seen Supernatural, which are love children of X Files. And I love both of those, uh, but I haven't seen the X Files. I've been wanting to watch Twin Peaks forever. Yeah, you have to be careful when watching it. You have to know what you're getting. It doesn't feel very much like a TV show. And this is the thing about Twin Peaks. The whole entire thing is so unbelievably stilted. That's the only word I can use. It's like every single cast member is in on some very dark secret, like this inside joke, and is looking at you and laughing, and it's some evil secret, and you don't know what it is. And it's like that the entire run. It's like every cast member is off, and it's like they know something that you don't, and they all know. And it's just so off. It's just so creepy, and it's exactly like that by design. It's fantastic, but that's what it is. It's not like a normal TV show. Although some people see it as a normal TV show and then watch it like that, but that's not why I watched it. I watched it because I went into it hoping it'd be that, and then I was very quickly like, "Okay, this is something else." The return is just, it's unbelievably horrifying, especially when you kind of feel what it's doing under the surface. And the thing is, if I could guess, I would say David Lynch is probably, well, he has all of the stuff that I've described in my posts and in live streams and stuff. He's one of the very, very few directors that has that and just floods his movies with it, and has done that for decades. They wanted him to direct the third or sixth Star Wars movie, and I can't imagine what that would have been like. That would have been amazing. Okay. Your parents approve of your path in life. Yes. Yes, they do. Although my mom wants me to be less scary. She's like, you know, do the funny stuff, do the physics videos that were so funny and quirky. I'm like, I still do that. It's just you need darkness to have the light. Like it's it's a very clever thing. That's why I can make jokes and then snatch it away in an instant with absolute just nightmarish content, and the vice versa, make it funny. It's perfect balance. They have to be extreme. Weed plantation. I've never done drugs in my entire life, and I never plan to. A lot of the people who have this whole mind different thing that's like they see things or third eye, whatever you want to call it, they achieve it with drugs, and that's a way to do it. Although I don't know, you need to do it a lot to kind of map whatever you're mapping. I think the most, I mentioned this before, the most natural, like inherent raw way to do it is to just basically suffer into enlightenment, which is just, there's nothing quite like it. It's just so it's awful, but I would not change it for, I would not trade it for anything. What do you think of the monsters, aliens, Halloween special? I haven't seen it. I watched a little bit of it when I was younger. Are there more pantheons of gods? I don't know. Star Trek 3. I don't know. It wasn't loopy enough, but I understand what you're saying. Twin Peaks is pretty good. It there's a guide online, I think, of when they say you should drop out of it because it's not David Lynch. Because, and this is something that I fully understand now, because I watched it as everything kind of, I was starting to see this stuff, and now I fully completely see it and what his kind of goal is there. And it was just awful what the studio made him do. You'll see if you're watching it. Horrifying theory. God, I had this terrible concept. It was basically just the most vile, disgusting, absolutely horrific. I didn't post it, and it was just an idea I had to see what the most disturbing humanly possible theory was I could craft. It was on Thomas the Tank Engine or something. It was about hell and children and abuse and trains. I don't even want to get into it. I was just like, what's the worst thing I could do? And I was like, well, I'm never going to post that. It's just awful. So that would be it, but it's not a video I posted, obviously. And it wasn't even a legitimate theory. It was just, I wanted to see if I could come up with something. And it was just awful. About burns randomly when Shrek throws a bottle at it. My sky gods, people interpret them differently. Lemur deceived this fruit. Exactly. Same gods, different interpretations. Precisely. I have a dry throat. God. Yeah. Jewish and bisexual. That's because the show shows that. It's basically everyone in the show makes non-stop, constant references to that every single character that I've seen celebrates, all the Jewish holidays and follows the Jewish traditions. And the bisexuality is just, the show is, I guess you'd say bisexual or whatever the label would be at this point, but it's basically, the show is just, every character is extremely sexual to every other character. This would be the implication. The show is insane. You can watch it. I don't know how it's for kids. Twin Peaks seeing the Hegelian is most important when it comes to the more theory. Well, it could be, and I think I mentioned it in the recent one. There is, yeah, and that's the thing with Twin Peaks. Yeah, it's also a symbol for God, or like a king, which is what it is. It's Zeus, and I think, who was it? Was it you, debater? Who, I think it was someone. It might have been you, commented that if pineapple is Zeus, then who would be Hercules? And the answer is Julian. It's Julian, without question. More important, I don't know. It's unclear. What's Frank's role? Frank. He's one of the sky gods. Although here's the part that really fucks with my head. is that Frank, exactly. Frank is another word for French, francophone. The Franks, the the French. Like it's another word. So it's very important. And he could be the pineapple, I guess, but they call him pineapple. Is Mork the 12 Labors of Hercules? What's that? I don't know. I'll look into it. I really watched as a kid. He was like 5. Yeah, I mean, a lot of shows are kind of crazy. I watched Total Drama Island when it aired. That was hilarious. And it was uncensored because I'm in Canada and it's Canadian. In German, France, yeah, exactly. His name isn't Frank. The lemurs just call him Frank. They do. Well, they just call him Pineapple. I think Senegal ties to the French Canadian. I've thought about that because there are a lot of French areas, and it would just depend on. It would depend if there was anything else to Senegal. Frank could be one of the names of the dead pilots. Oh my God, that's true. But I think if anything, it's going to be a reference to France. Frank is France. Hour and 16 minutes. Lemurs just use names of the plane crew for their gods. That'd be interesting, and it would make sense because they're from a plane in the sky, right? Sky gods that fell down. That's exactly. I'm gonna screenshot again. you just throw ideas out there, and yeah. Hello. Yeah, I'm gonna end it. I need to eat. Yeah. Todd is roughly deaf in German. I mentioned that. Good night. Oh, it's been 24 hours, but I don't plan to go to sleep. No, I've just been eating protein powder. Like a lot. Like out of your hand? Yes. Todd is like Typhon. That's actually a screenshot that. Maybe. I don't know about that one, actually. Do you think Brett has to do all this? I have no idea. It's tied in, but French, Russia, the DGSE. Why is my laugh so horrifying? What'll I do after the Mort theory's over? Well, more Baby Smitty. I have several other theory series. I got my Despicable Me series. I got my Baby Smitty series. I got a whole bunch that are running. They're just really slow. And whenever maybe a new one will get created. So, yeah. Bye.